CBS News White House reporter Willie James Inman is joining us now from the White House to talk more about this. So, Willie, you just heard we referenced the fact that the president is sending Tom Homan to Minnesota. What else can you tell us?
Hey there, Vlad, and that is a significant change in this situation, and as tensions are brewing there on the ground in Minnesota in response to this latest shooting and the killing of Alex Pretti. Now, the president did speak exclusively with the Wall Street Journal over the weekend, and he said, we're reviewing everything, and he didn't directly answer when asked twice about whether the officer who shot Pretti had essentially done the right thing. We, of course, know that this president and other White House officials have blasted local officials, have blasted Democrats in particular, and called on them to cooperate with the federal government. In fact, the president did that over the weekend, also calling for Congress to pass legislation to ban so-called sanctuary cities. So this isn't the end there quite yet, but certainly a shift and change with the president sending his border czar, Tom Homan, to Minnesota to oversee the situation on the ground there. And we anticipate lots of questions for this White House. Caroline Leavitt, the press secretary, will hold a briefing today at 1 p.m.
And Willie James, you know, we're also seeing the White House getting some pushback this weekend from Democrats, even some Republicans in the wake of this shooting. So what are you hearing on that front? And does this in any way sort of feel like a tipping point?
Yeah, essentially, Senate Democrats over the weekend essentially said they had enough. They are saying that they will not support that funding for the Department of Homeland Security for this fiscal year. I'll point out that billions have already been appropriated for DHS and ICE operations in the so-called One Big Beautiful Bill. But there is some response from both Democrats and Republicans. Take a listen to this.
I don't question the credibility of ICE. They're doing an incredibly hard job. Look, we are all just feel sorry about what happened in Minneapolis. And this has happened over and over again. I mean, I'm not just talking about regarding ICE. I mean, they've got some failed local leadership.
There's no need for this overwhelming show of force. I believe what we're seeing is an attempt to intimidate the American people. These people are acting outside the Constitution. Okay. They're ignoring our laws, and we just can't keep supporting that.
And Senator Angus King there, of course, an independent from Maine who caucuses with the Democrats. But I'll also point out some response from Republican Senator Cassidy, who said the events in Minneapolis are incredibly disturbing. The credibility of ICE and DHS are at stake. And I want to also point out some comments from Senator Thom Tillis of North Carolina. He said there must be a thorough and impartial investigation into yesterday's Minneapolis shooting. Of course, we'll monitor the responses coming from Capitol Hill and the White House and bring you those updates as they come.
Of course, as Willie, you know, Tom Tillis is not running for office anymore, so he has become the easy go-to for criticism of the Trump administration. And yet, my guess, Willie, and you would know better than I, he seems to be he's the only sort of high-profile Republican. There have been some at the local level and in Congress, but we haven't seen another, for example, Republican senator as of yet.
Well, there have been some other voices that have spoken out about this. Senator Cassidy, for instance, who essentially hasn't received the support of President Trump in his reelection bid. I do anticipate there perhaps will be some more moderate Republican senators. I'm thinking Senator Lisa Murkowski of Alaska, for instance. She's oftentimes one of those voices that is a more moderate Republican voice pushing it back against the president oftentimes.
Yeah, and we just posted, we just showed a post from Senator Bill Cassidy, who also has been quite critical. All right, Willie James for us at the White House. We appreciate it.